Hello, how's everybody doing? My name is Marco Velasquez and this is 3 Seed Studio. So I did a little poll on Twitter in my Faiteless account. Follow at the Faiteless, which is our indie comic, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna make videos on those soon. But anyway, what we're doing today is Marvel recently released these new character designs called the NewWarriors. I'm not necessarily going to be talking about what their ideas are. I wanted to take a different approach. I have been designing characters my entire life, and I'm not necessarily the best, but I always have an opinion, and I'm going to treat this as if it were the art critiques, where we would give constructive criticism. Or I could give this an approach as if it were, a friend designing a character. Now, there's different things I could do because I could spend time designing these in my own way, as I tend to do with characters like Spider-Man, Wolverine, or Superman. I'm not gonna design my own version. That would be another video if you guys would want a speed painting. No. Today I'm just gonna look and I'm gonna observe and I'm gonna see if this is something I would approve of if I was overseeing the project.
The Faiteless
is a post-apocalyptic comedy adventure, right? Not necessarily superhero, but I grew up making a superhero story with my friend here. You can call him Rebor from The Faiteless. He's in there. Well, him and we created a series. The name is Classified. If The Faiteless works, we might move on to doing these superhero stories. Anyway, superhero costumes. I always did my own version of them, but in a way where it didn't remain in the stereotypes. It grew into its own genre, a grounded interpretation. And I want to just study here. I want to study what I see. I want to study the archetypes. Let's get started. Marvel's The NewWarriors are a group of young people. Some of them are somewhat skinny, some of them not so much, but they're not necessarily big and built. So I worry because the silhouette has to say something unique about the character. It's fundamental when you're trying to capture a moment in a scene, or when you're trying to illustrate the gesture of the body, to capture the tension, the feel. Aside from the mohawk, maybe the wings, and maybe the girl's overall body shape. That's it, I don't necessarily see anything different here, which is why I felt an urge to make this video. I see no weapons, no helmet, no capes, no equipment. But every character changes over time. First character is ScreenTime. Now this member of the NewWarriors, a man who is not necessarily battle ready. I think he's more of an assistant, like information assistant, because he's just wearing clothing. What I noticed they do a lot in this team are lines of color, bright color, as if to insinuate microchips, but I don't necessarily think it's practical. I think it's just fashion in this case. The first thing I see are his gloves. They're not necessarily technological, they're just gloves. Something could have been done there with technology. Well, I guess he sees the keyboard in his mind, but the glove could have been a way to allude to his ability to travel through cyberspace. It's very strange that everything about him seems to be visually oriented. It's about his visual reception and his auditory reception. But if that's the case, then he's packing some advanced technology on him. I guess that would be his characteristic. So if he had an item, how some characters, they have an item that make them stand out, web shooters, hammers, it would be this visor, headphones, and head equipment. All the attention should have been given to his visor. Color schemes. First thing I notice is gray. I don't suggest character designs having more than 3 colors. We have 4 colors. Now, black and white are not usually together with a color. It's not always, it's too much. It's usually a color and black, or a color and white. And that usually is a very simple combination that's beautiful and elegant. The black is used across like lines as if it were neon lights, because you see those neon lines too. We're supposed to move the eye of the audience across in a very natural, healthy way. Usually studying the body makes for great superhero suits if you study uniforms, but this man's uniform here, the symbol on the chest is black, but why is the outline around black and then the cross around that circle black? There's no focal center. You know how the iris is black? That's the center. That's the symbol. And that's what pops out, you know. In this case, I don't know. Then you have just gray arms, gray torso. It doesn't work for me, because look at the image of him facing away from us. There's a gray dividing the white on his jacket. Now, I wouldn't suggest putting white all over the place either, because that is the main focus. The white, like the white gloves, could be interesting. Sometimes a white mask. You know Green Lantern, he has white only on the gloves behind the Green Lantern symbol. It's eye-catching. Here, the white is below the gray and above the gray, so it almost makes him look fat. Does that make sense? It makes the focus move like an hourglass. Tall neck design choice is a bit of an Asian reference, I would say. Oh, maybe this character is Asian. He kind of looks like he is. That's very interesting. In the Matrix, Neo has an Asian aesthetic of martial artists, and I think subconsciously this artist was doing this too. His shoulders are busy. It's probably repeating the chest symbol. You could have added different tones of green. If I had a little bit of green, if I had a little bit of blue, ooh, what a happy character we can do. Names have such an important value when it comes to creating a character. A character's name transcends their history. It encompasses what the characters stand for, what their struggles are, what they're willing to do. Screen time. I kind of like how both words make one word. But I have to be honest, I'm not too familiar with this phrase. And I just don't think it's good to have confusion. Another issue is time is in the name, and his power is not involving time. I know names are not literal, but be wary of words in your name. Now, when making a character name, I kind of tend to know when something's gonna last in an iconic way. And if not, if I forget about it, then it's probably forgettable. How about this? I shouldn't be giving ideas, but remember, ideas are worth gold, and be as creative as you can and hold on to them. But how about light code? Better, huh? Be negative.
Oh, I just love heavy metal. You know what I'm saying.
My first observation were the boots. Disappointment. You can't have such an obvious reference to Batman. It's going to have to be completely explained in the story, because Batman uses those to break swords. This vampire, I know it's based on Morbius the vampire. Fingerless gloves. Ooh, that's kind of practical. With open palms for sucking blood. When I first saw this character, I have a belief that sometimes these creators don't imagine the character in a practical setting. Imagine them in the video game Ultimate Alliance, right? Fighting endless robots, for example. They're gonna do it with their bare hands. That's what you're implying here. When creating your character, you have to consider, is your character capable of being a first responder, being able to break down a door, being able to open up a car, being able to carry an individual, being able to take down a gang size threat? Is your character capable of dealing against multiple people? Or is your character a cosplayer? Well, for all I know, they're in training. Are those wings for decoration? There's two different styles here. I can cover the top part and imagine an entirely different person. I can cover the bottom and imagine an entirely different person. But I can pretend there's a consistency in that it's all leather. Okay, this is a little funny, but I started visualizing this character as a real person sitting down like in a Starbucks. And I said, oh no, I'm a little disturbed. The pants, with that skin tone he has, would look like this person is nude. Someone had to say it. Now, in terms of value, I don't think white is a good choice here. Not just because of the archetype, don't think it fits that, but because I don't think it goes well with the hot pink and the white face. It's taking advantage of the attention. Besides, those are going to get dirty fast. Now you could argue, well, what if he doesn't want to distract his enemies? Sure, that works. But I still would recommend some sort of consistent unity. How about repeating some of those studs towards the legs, straps towards the legs, consistency. Now the reason the name doesn't necessarily work for me is because it's a bit of a command. And what, for the sake of it being a little joke, a little pun? I make a comedic series and sometimes the names are jokes. He calls himself In the Way, an ogre, kinda clueless, but it's all one word.
I am in the way.
And that's the joke. But it's an obstacle. He's in the way. Snowflake and Safe Space. Oh boy. These two are a team. First thing I think of are the Wonder Twins, Haugen Dove, and Más y Menos.
Más y menos y patemos.
These two come together as one character. They're equal partners. You don't see a lot of those team-ups where they're matching costumes straight out of a wrestling ring. But in a way, luchadores did inspire superheroes. They have exposed shoulders, exposed thighs. Not a good sign. I'm a bit uncertain about the archetype here. I see a good emphasis on the materials here, being layers of different layers on the gloves and layers on the collar, straps and material, as opposed to skin tights. But what doesn't match is the sweater neck. The sweater neck is gonna get you hot. It's important to see your own work. I'm going through a check mark in my mind. Tone, archetype, color, and weight. Weight, not around the shoulders, not around the legs. Weight is emphasized around the neck here. The use of black here is so strange. The torso is divided into segments, and it makes me think of insect. I don't think I want to be thinking this. But you know how Venom, it's in the front, carries around the legs, in the back, looking like a ribcage. Here, that didn't go on. What they chose to do here was to continue the collar on the back. So the back, all white, hard, no lines, is an extension of the collar. This mini cape seems to be alluding towards the cape. If you view a character design naturally, it can be very similar to the back of a silverback gorilla, to the back of a fox, to the wings of a bird, a color that moves behind them as they do. Now look at the repeating symbol in the front and on the back. I'm not personally a fan of repeating things, but I know it is a traditional superhero design. The problem is when there's different colors and no consistency. If it's too many details for a child to repeat, it's probably not a successful design. Her symbol is much more complex than his. I don't see weapons. I don't see gear. I don't see armor. I don't see pockets. Every hero needs a pocket, and every pocket has a pen, and every pen signs an autograph. Funny story, Rebor and I created a character named Snowflake back in 2011. She was for like an alternative universe book for our superhero series, the classified one. But now that I think about it, I would just probably name her Snow. The name Snowflake is not something I would hear a commander yelling out. I don't approve the name Safe Space, but what I do like is the word safe. It may not be the most militaristic name, but it does sound to me like rescue rangers, first responders, maybe riot gear, safeguard. I like that. Now we have Trailblazer. Oh my god, I'm exhausted. I can't do another neon character. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, at this point I've been editing this for like 4 days. Staying up all night. Not good. So what I'm gonna do is give advice to the entire group of the NewWarriors, which I wish you would look more like warriors. Only wear neon clothing for safety reasons, like glow-in-the-dark clothing. Well, let's dive into this. I just have one question. Why is there yellow? This character here is also one that falls under the category of finding an object they equip, which is not necessarily created by them. And I know it was yellow originally. So if the backpack was yellow, why didn't she get a matching costume? Some of this pink crosses over with Safe Space's pink. Some of this teal crosses over with Snowflake's teal. This is such a... You might as well make a rainbow. Make that rainbow color scheme already. To be fair, the colors could be from her native tribe. I hear the backpack is supposed to be divine or alien or mystic, and I just have one thing to say. Why does it look like it came straight out of a store? And again, you know, it looks like a microchip. Try to make it something besides lines going down the arms. Do something else. The character prototype, he had normal clothing. I like the earrings. I like the braids. Trailblazer. When I first heard this character's name, I thought she was fast. Turns out it's just a backpack. What I have to say about this? Well, just a lack of focus. Sketch out ideas and look at how other people interpret different ideas. I'm gonna go back to working on the Faiteless Chapter 2. Playing cards are available. Explore the website. Thank you all so much. Oh man, I hope you enjoyed. This was my first of this kind of video. Thanks for joining my insanity. Any other characters you'd like to see? Want me to redesign a character? Or a realistic painting of your favorite character? You might see my bros and I next time. Everybody, be creative. Have a great day.